G'day everyone, Big Aussie Pepper here and welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I'm trying out some virtual backgrounds here, but I don't think it's working too good because the hat is green and it's sort of using the green screen effect. And let's check on the camera. It kind of cuts off part of my hat there. Here in the background we can see iconic Flinders Street Station, a very important landmark in Melbourne, very iconic indeed. A great place to go, the city of Melbourne in general, to find really good coffee, and apparently they do something about sports there. I'm not too into the sports, so not the best person to be asking about that. Today's video is going to be about, well, more of an introduction to canning. And I've recently got these marvellous jars from Aussie Mason Jars. They are not a sponsor, and that is also reversed, so you don't actually get to see that properly. I might actually do this without the background. There you go. I think it's a bit better without the background with the hat, and it's quite distracting just to get the hat look at my artwork in the background instead. So as I was just saying, Aussie Mason Jars, and the video is still flipped, so you can't actually read that. So, well, you can read that, but it is backwards because my video is flipped. Makes it easier for me to use. And these little puppies are 6 cups or 3 pints. That's about 1.9 litres. Most of them you'll find when it says that that's 1 quart. I get their measurements mixed up and looking at the American, but it's basically 1.9 or some say 2 litres, and they are really awesome. And as I was mentioning, they are not a sponsor of this video at all. I don't get any sort of kickback. I just buy my stuff from them. And I got these stored in here. We have the rings, and we have the lids. And the idea behind these is that using various different methods, you can preserve food in them. I have here, it's a bit heavy. Watch out for that. To get the bigger ones, you're going to have to store them. Make sure your boxes are nice and strong. And here we go. We have kidney beans. Yep. It says them on top there too. And also the date that I packed it, which is the 21st of the 10th, 2020. Or 2020. Yeah, that sounds right. So this one is currently sealed. You can tell because the little button on top is depressed. I press it, nothing happens, as opposed to one which is not being depressed or vacuum sealed. That's what I've done with these ones. It's much like the cans you buy from the shops. You'd get that same sort of effect going on. Once you open it first time, it makes a nice little satisfying pop noise. That's the vacuum seal being broken. And the little thing comes up to let you know. So how have I sealed these? Well, you might see inside a couple of little blue things in there. Can you see that on the camera? You can. They're oxygen absorbers, and that's one way to seal these up. I don't think it's the most efficient way to do it. I've got some other ways which will be showing you in the video in just a minute. I'm also trying this video for the first time using Audacity to record my audio. So hopefully this video has better audio. What I also have over here, just outside the camera, I'm very careful not to drop one of these. They are quite sturdy, but I did have one break in transit. I have the actual oxygen absorbers stored in here. So these are still good for other things. There are some things you don't really want to be using these for, like things like sugar. You don't want to be doing any sort of oxygen absorbing. You'd actually be better off putting a moisture absorber in there, I think. And because if you do the oxygen absorption, it kind of turns it into one dry clump. Now that sugar would still be good to use. It's just going to be quite a bit more difficult. So these are good for most other things. I think these are really good for flour and other really fine powdery stuff because they are trying to do it with the other method, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. You could get the powder stuck in the actual vacuum sealer, which is what we'll be using today. I'm going to be showing some videos in just a moment. First up, a bit of an unboxing and me opening up these cans. Now these ones were actually vacuum sealed before I started doing this YouTube channel and the podcasts. So you won't see me doing the original batch, but what I will do is actually unseal some of them and reseal them using the Food Saver vacuum machine that I got. Now it's not the actual Food Saver brand, it's actually one from Aldi's, and it's pretty cool. I just recently did a podcast where I talked about the vacuum sealer bags, so if you're keeping up with the podcasts and the videos, you'll see how far behind my videos are at the moment. But the other reason I wanted to get that vacuum sealer machine was that it has a place to put a little attachment for the hose that I can put into another thing that I got for the lids. You'll also see those in the video. And when we come back, we might have another look at those in the video here as well. But you attach the hose to the machine, attach the other end to the lids, and then you suck the air out. And it creates the seal, which is really, really cool. And I think a lot of in the future I'm going to be doing different things. I have vacuum sealed so far, as you've seen, red kidney beans, red lentils, rice, flour, put a little pin in that one, and obviously the actual oxygen absorbers as well. What do I want to vacuum seal in the future? I think mostly it's going to be the dried beans, lentils, rice, things like that. I'm going to be doing more of those to have stored away. I did notice the flour, like I said, put a little pin in that one with the flour. One of the jars didn't seal, and the other one was, I think, one of the red beans didn't seal too well. So it is important to go back and check your seals on a regular basis to make sure that they are in fact sealed the way that you expect them to be. I've also come across with the rings, although I've stored them separately. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this. Try and get it to focus on that. A bit of rust going on here. Can we get that into focus? Yeah, but a bit of rust around here. I've done a bit of research, and there's nothing that's particularly harmful, and you can get rust removal stuff, like a liquid that you can put and give them a soak and a scrub, so I'll probably do that. And then have to think about the moisture in the house, because where they're stored, they're inside cardboard boxes, but it's also fairly near the dryer, so that puts out a bit of heat and a bit of moisture. So I have to think about how to mitigate that. I do have some silica gel, which I've actually got from cat litter, would you believe, of all places. So I might be including some little sachets of that in with my canning supplies. Well, that's enough of me yabbering on. Let's actually have a look at canning up some supplies and having a look at the attachments and the machine as well. Here we can see I'm just unpacking the last of my first box of the mason jars. I got 2 6-packs from that site, and they're really good. We had one that was broken, like I mentioned before. Here I've sped up the footage because you don't need to see me undoing all that, do you? And I'm just going through and checking all the lids. That's an empty Milo tin and an empty Makona jar that I was also experimenting with. And I'm just going through. I noticed 1 or 2 of them weren't written on, so I'm just writing on them. But to find out that text that doesn't work too good. I used the one in my pocket after that. And there's my cat in the background. Hello, Oscar. And I'm just making sure the dates are right and the contents. And here we're going to have a look at the lids for the jars. So these are the ones I only just recently got in the mail. I had to get them from America. They actually are a proper Food Saver brand. Here they are on the screen here. And there's a wide mouth one and a narrow mouth one. The one that I need is the wide mouth, but in the future I'm sure I'll need the narrow mouth. And these actually connect to the vacuum sealer, which is just off camera. There will be more videos on the vacuum sealer coming up soon. We're having to do some ones on the vacuum sealer bags, and here we go. Just seeing that this is on very tight. I'm going to try and pop it off. Very satisfying sound there. And the oxygen absorbers are still not going completely hard, which means they still work alright. Bit of a noise warning coming up here. So this one took a bit longer than usual because there's quite a bit of air in there. If there's less air and more product, then it seems to be a fair bit faster. And then what I do is I very gently remove the lid. And in a video in a moment I'm coming up, I'll show you what it looks like when you actually attach it to the machine. It's kind of hard to show in a video, but I shall do my best. So this other jar of red lentils was actually giving me some trouble. I just vacuum sealed that and it didn't actually take. So I'm just cleaning off the lid and around the rim, make sure there's nothing in there that's getting in the way of creating a nice vacuum seal. And then we're going to settle up. In this shot you can actually see what I'm doing here, and you actually have to hold the nozzle in there. It doesn't just connect and then just push the button. So there you go. That's my little introduction into canning, or definitely my personal experiences. I could technically use some of my pots that I have already and do some warm water bath canning, where you do things like jams and preserves, and it has to be things that are not acidic, is what I believe it is. I have to double check that. And eventually I will be getting a pressure canner to be able to do proper pressure canning, so it can actually can and have shelf stable things like meat and vegetables that are already cooked, and then you just need to heat those up again. So that's the end goal. But I now have many of the accessories that I already need for the basic stuff, and then just need special pots for the other stuff and all the little grippy claws you can get to help pick the things out. And obviously when you're warm water bathing and pressure canning, you need to have a thing in the bottom of your pot as well. Just a quick little reminder there for things I haven't yet done but I am aware of, that's for sure. So that's what I currently have, and that's where I want to be coming up soon. So stay tuned, and remember, until next time, if you can't be the grey man, be the big man. See yous.